My name is Paul Shelley, and welcome to the AstroHistorian, and welcome to the first System Survey. This is a sub-series where I look at specific systems and planets in sci-fi universes and discuss their impact on lore. The first System Survey is on what I firmly believe to be the system to follow the release of Nyx in Star Citizen. That is the system of Castra. Before we get started, I do want to thank those of you who have been watching these videos. Knowing y'all come back week to week to watch more of my videos drives me to keep doing this. If you've been enjoying my work, think about hitting that subscribe button to keep up to date with the latest videos. And if you want to know exactly when they come out, ring the bell. With that said, let's get started with the first of our system surveys on the Castra system. The history of Castra is the history of human-xi'an relations. To illustrate this fact, in 2716, Admiral Connolly Reeves described the system in a speech he gave to the UE High Command.
The xi'an conflict, when it does occur, and note, I say when, not if, will ultimately be determined by our strength in one system alone, Castra.
However, a century later, Castra's impressive defenses were protecting xi'an and human trade, facilitating diplomatic negotiations, and enticing civilians to help settle the once military stronghold of Cascom. The system was discovered in 2544, only 14 years after the first contact with the xi'an, and 2 years into the first interstellar conflict humanity had with the Devarin. While at first the system was deemed unremarkable astronomically, with only 2 planets orbiting around a main sequence Type B star, it soon became apparent that the system was placed in a very strategic location near the border with xi'an space, known today as the Perry Line. The then UPE military saw the new system as a vital staging location to build up troops and ships in a potential war with the xi'an. They saw the system as a potential training facility and backup resource cache for the Hadrian system. Due to Hadrian's position as the main forward base along the border, they named the new system Castra, after the Latin word the Romans used to describe land used as a defensive position. They began by terraforming the second planet, calling the planet Castra Command, or just Cascom, and building a rudimentary frontline base. After the Devarin War had ended, the Mezzers and their new UEE continued to maintain the base as they ratcheted up tensions with the xi'an. But nothing was dramatically changed until more jump points were discovered in the system. These discoveries placed the system on the front lines of the conflict, and what was once a simple staging ground turned into a frontline combat base. The UE dumped more funds into the defense of the system, and the simple military base grew into a fortress. It was built on the top of Mount Ulysses and above the cloud layer. This made the base supremely secure and gave it an otherworldly beauty rivaled only by the cloud city of Orison. And the base quickly earned the nickname of the Island in the Sky. The military named the base Sherman, after the famous 19th century United States Army general. The best way to describe the city is probably this famous quote from Admiral Kusami Klein, who, upon seeing Sherman for the first time, famously said, "It's the city of my dreams. Picturesque and protected by big guns." The fortress city wasn't the only thing the UE created in the system. An orbital platform large enough to house and maintain the largest of UE capital ships and squadrons of long-range bombers ready to strike targets deep in xi'an space was constructed above the planet. During this development of Cascom, Castra 1, the resourceless and airless sister planet of the system, was used by bomber crews on the orbital platform as target practice. This gave the planet its unofficial name, Bullseye. As a result of this build-up, Castra was almost exclusively military, with very little civilian development occurring in the system for centuries. This also meant that Cascom became one of the few locations in the Empire to maintain much of its original government-built architecture. This includes the austere Hinoism style that was prominent during the city's initial construction, and later monumentalism, which became popular during the reign of Mezzer III, who oversaw much of Sherman's expansion. By the end of the Mezzer era, tensions with the xi'an cooled off, and after the fall of the Mezzers, the new UE stepped back the military presence in Castra as a sign of good faith. At the same time, they opened up settlement rights to the public for the first time. This decision was a controversial one, as the hawkish minority of the UEE felt the system was better utilized as a solely military base in case of Vandal or xi'an attack, as the system lies on invasion routes from both species. In the end, this decision did bring new economic life to Castra, as Cascom and Sherman grew in population, with many businesses looking to capitalize on the system's position on the border with the xi'an. Today, Sherman is a growing hub of trade and tourism, with many people flocking to the island in the sky for its breathtaking vistas and historical structures, still preserved for public exhibition. There's even a small pub called the Edge of Oblivion, which contains photographs and other memorabilia of the base from various time periods in its operation. Its landing zone has been converted from its original role as a bomber base to a parking lot franchise owned and operated by a local resident, and retains much of its original design. The rest of the city also has many shops, including the rare Apocalypse Arms Shop, Fuel Pump, Hardpoint Guys, and Element Authority. It still houses a UEE military base, with anti-ship weapons all over the city, including a pair of massive AOV-9 anti-orbital cannons, while aged, are still very functional. It is also the new home of Kruger Intergalactic, who moved to the system after their home in Berea in the Magnus system became too dangerous. The final straw came in 2785, when pirates raided a large convoy of Kruger-made RSI parts leaving the system that nearly cost the company their contracts with RSI. They were able to get into Sherman just as the system was transitioning to more civilian uses, and were able to get a significant amount of affordable space, solid infrastructure, and, most importantly, secure shipping routes. For over 100 years, Kruger has made Sherman their home, and because of the stability the system offered, went from producing simply parts to producing entire weapons and ships, having produced everything from their constellation-based snub fighters to the iconic weapon of the Aegis Avenger, the Tiger Strike in Castra. While it isn't clear, the size and scope of Kruger's work likely means that much of the civilian population of the system is in some way associated with the famed parts manufacturer, tying the system's success to the growth of Kruger. Castra remains a system in transition, on the edge of UEE space and intimately entwined with the stellar political relations between humanity and the xi'an. That was the history and lore of Castra. Special thanks to my dear friend Keenan, who lended his voice talents to this episode. Make sure you check him out at The Space Tomato, or Space Tomato, and Space Tomato 2 on YouTube. Does fantastic Star Citizen content. You'll see me on there quite frequently as well. I hope you enjoyed our look at the fascinating Frontier system. If you did, remember to tap the like button and tell your friends in order to spread the word. I'd also like to thank those Patreons on screen now for making this all possible. If you want to join them, click the link in the description. For as little as $5 a month, you get early access to videos, including a timed exclusive covering the entire history of the Star Citizen universe. For now, let me know what system you want me to cover next in our system survey in the comments below. And as always, remember, ex historia ad astra.